You're listening to the Ask Drone U podcast. You ask, we answer your drone questions. Whether you're here to turn your passion into profit or you simply fly for fun, we're a community of learners and teachers who aspire to achieve greatness. We are
Drone U.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Ask Drone U. As always, my name is Paul.
And as always, my name is Rob. Thank you for joining us. It's been a little while. Well, actually, this is the second show since the big gap occurred. We're always be known as the big gap, the baby Grace gap.
The baby gap.
The baby gap. I don't know. That might have trademark issues.
Uh-oh. Is that because that's where you buy all your shirts?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm guilty too. So is Brandon.
They're cheap. Anyways, I'm Rob. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, you can get a good fitted shirt there.
Yes. Fitted.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit well, but it's fitted.
So we have a show today kind of talking about disaster response, but specifically the deliverables that a lot of these disaster response agencies prefer, but also how you can utilize these deliverables for insurance companies and adjusters. If you're an insurance adjuster and you work in crisis response, or maybe you work for GP strategies, I'm looking at you, Garen, this is the type of data that they want pre-disaster and post-disaster. It's also a reason why home insurance rates are so expensive in Florida. Not gonna lie, if you look up Florida homes, you'll see, I think there's like an average of like 5,000 listings, I think Zillow just put out, where it's like motivated to sell. And it's because the home insurance is so
What's
expensive.
an example? Say a $500,000 house.
I don't
Do you know?
I don't know how expensive it is.
Because our insurance, I don't know if you've noticed, but our insurance went crazy here.
Really?
Mostly, I think, because of hail and fire.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I know my mortgage went up by $500 a month because of taxes.
Well, that's because you had a new build.
Yeah.
That's different. But insurance, and yeah, I think the Boulder fire a couple years ago, right before we moved.
Yep.
I think that really hurt. Anyway.
And then the Cameron Peak fire, the one that was right here, because you hear what NASA said about Larimer County?
No.
It's the number one county in the United States for losing vegetation. Even though NASA says that the Mountain West is gaining more foliage than anywhere else in the country.
Interesting. Yeah, we've been up there a couple times jeeping and riding motorcycles, and it's pretty barren. It's crazy to see these whole mountainsides of... And there's still a lot of them are still not growing. Anyways, we probably should get off that rabbit trail.
We should, but before we get into talking about disaster response, the opportunities there and how you can monetize it better than most people, we want to make sure that you know that we are throwing our second experience training. In fact, we did such a good job. Well, our students said that we did such a good job. I should be a little bit more humble about that. We've got a waiting list of almost 20 people who want to sign up, and we're going to be doing this experience training Monday. Well, you'll fly in the day before, but Monday, the 30th of September through Sunday, the 10th of October. And this is going to be, is this our fourth or fifth annual experience training?
Well, this will be our second one this year. It'll be our fourth version.
Yes, our fourth version of the experience training. Now remember, the experience training is an opportunity for you to deep dive and have a drone experience unlike anything else you've ever seen. Is it a drone training? Yes, it's 5 days of drone training, but then it's a gamified competition where you're competing against your fellow students to produce media for a cash prize. This is gonna push you beyond your envelope. It's gonna grow your confidence and build systems unlike anything you've ever seen in aviation training. That said, it's also a full experience. So you're staying on site in a multi-million-dollar facility where you're getting fed, you're sleeping in an amazing place that's better than most hotel rooms, frankly, and you're out in nature. So the scenery is your honest studio to film, to photograph, and to master the deliverables of construction, where we're focusing on rapid orthomosaics, a little bit of drone mapping, but we're really on video production, hyperlapses, photography, and so much more. And this is not your basic training. This is how you can actually scale your editing techniques, scale your production techniques to make sure that you're bringing in the bills time after time after time. This way, you have the skills to pay the bills at scale. Because if you can't scale, then you really just have a service business. You don't have an asset that you can later sell once, 15 years down the line, you're done. We are going to send this out first thing to the waiting list, but we're also going to send it out to all of you. I don't know how many seats we're honestly going to have, but it is going to be first come, first serve. So make sure you sign up, because not only did we sell out the last one, but we added 3 additional seats just so that we could service everyone who wanted to come.
If I may add, we probably won't even get to the point of marketing this per se beyond this because of the waiting list. So if you're interested, and I'm doing this first come, i.e. first email, first served, send me an email, rob@thedroneu.com, and we'll get you on the list as a potential ticket
You know what was
holder.
really cool this last year? 2 things. Number 1, we had a producer who worked for HBO and Netflix, and she said it was literally, her exact words were, you've got a 5-year film school education that normally costs $100,000 for like the equivalent of $6,000 or $7,000. And then the other thing was we gave gimbals to every single person who came, which was like the nicest entry prize we've ever given to anyone, right?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was fun to set that all up and see people excited about getting the event started.
So if you want to significantly lower that learning curve, you want to create memories you're never going to forget in your life, you want to have a good time, but you want skills that you can walk away with so that you can implement the very next week, then you've got to sign up for the Drone U Experience Training. Experience.thedroneu.com. All right, let's get to that show.
So recently, my mother just signed up for the Red Cross, and it kind of sparked an idea. And I was just wondering if you guys have done any disaster relief. If so, if you guys would have any tips. But I would be completely new to mapping, and I thought it would be an interesting way to get my feet wet, maybe build a portfolio and show what I can do before actually stumbling on a real client. Yes, I know there would be challenges and stuff like that, but just wondering if you guys had any input.
Thank you, Benjamin. It is a good question, and it's an important question because that particular paradigm or vertical of using drones, it's really, really important that you follow certain procedures, that you understand the systems, the protocols, the powers that be that are kind of running these situations, right? You don't want to just show up and start flying a drone. That is an absolute no-no.
Yeah, and that's a really good way to start this show, because a lot of times you have to have those ICS classes, which are just those simple online classes about dealing with public safety and natural disasters and whatnot. But I also know a lot of people who are already involved in the insurance business, already involved in disaster response, and already involved in a lot of these things. By the way, did you know, so there used to be a really cool software that you could use to search photos, to find people, to find assets, to find things. I used ChatGPT 40 to create a program, and it actually worked, that literally searches all your photos and can find things based off of color, objects, all sorts of stuff. Literally, it wrote the entire software in about 10 minutes. And I was able to pull it up on this machine, throw photos in it, and it utilized a camera library that was actually developed by Open Drone Map and was able to search all the photos, and I can't believe how well it worked. Literally.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, so no need to go buy software. You can just make it in ChatGPT.
Wow. We need a little tutorial on that.
Yeah, here's a new class, Rob. When it comes to disaster response, though, do you remember how the New Orleans Public Works contract came in? I can't remember how that came about. Was that PJ?
I don't remember are you asking about how they found out about us?
Uh-huh.
I don't remember.
Well, the point is that we actually developed an entire program for disaster response that's focused on rapid orthomosaics, because more and more insurance companies are actually putting out contracts to bid. In fact, there's a NOAA contract right now. There's a new contract by FEMA that's out. So if you go to WinGov, or look up sam.gov, you can see that FEMA has a contract out for drone pilots right now where you can actually go map coastal areas, because they want the pre-mapped areas to see what was actually in existence before a storm hits. Mm-hmm, and since we're literally filming this show and there's a cyclone that's approaching Texas right now, I don't know if you heard about this.
I did not.
Expecting 11 inches of rain this weekend.
Oh boy.
So the timing couldn't be better. But when it comes to disaster response, FEMA and whatnot, Rob's right. You got to have the right training. You got to work with the right chain of command. But there is an opportunity to go out and map these sites and sell it to insurance companies. And it's not just after the disaster hits, it's actually before the disaster hits. Because gathering the maps, a lot of these public safety agencies, they're actually selling their data when they go respond to augment their budgets. They're selling their data to companies like Nationwide, name any home insurance company out there that are buying these data sets, because how many people, myself included, go out and build a shed in their backyard. It doesn't show up in Google Maps, and you're claiming that you spent $5,000 building this shed, and they're like, prove it, otherwise we're not going to pay you.
Yeah. Yeah, which is a great lesson, by the way, for everybody listening. Go film your entire property and even the inside of your house.
Yes, just don't make the inside of your house public. Yeah. No, because it's like a digital inventory, right?
No, you're filming it for yourself.
Yeah.
Digital inventory, exactly.
Yeah, I'm going to have to pull down that swing. Anyway, moving on. Moving on.
It's for the baby.
Yeah, the baby swing, you dirty mind. All right. That being said, when it comes to disaster response, we have an entire program on props that goes through operations, rapid orthomosaic collection, but also collecting data when there's no internet allowed or no internet available. That's one of the biggest issues that you're going to run into, is getting your drone to actually work in those scenarios. If you have Starlink on your RV or on your mobile drone unit, aka your truck, that's a great solution to always have internet to download those background maps. But there are a lot of opportunities not just to work in public works, but also to gather data, sell it to insurance companies. And there are various portals that these insurance companies hire contractors, and you got to do the dirty work. Go on ChatGPT, ask, hey, where can I find vendor lists, or where can I find networks to network with insurance companies? Sometimes you have to go to their conferences. This is why I say drone conferences don't really have much value anymore. It's the same people, the same manufacturers over and over again. If you want real business, you've got to go to like construction conferences, infrastructure conferences, public works conferences, insurance conferences. Rob and I didn't even know that there's a conference all around digital education. Remember the one that Kevin and Rita went to? Yeah. Now at least we're getting representation at those, but we didn't even know those existed.
You should just assume there is one. It's kind of like a magazine. There is a magazine for everything, right?
100%.
I think it's probably true for conferences, different sizes depending on what we're talking about. But yeah, that's a great idea, is to go find what conference is applicable to the kind of vertical that you're interested in. There's probably something there.
And honestly, guys, you're going to have to get creative. If you're struggling to have that intrinsic motivation to go out and find this work, you need to think about, what does it look like once you have the work? What does it look like once you've had successful contracts? How do you feel? How can you envision that experience to say like, oh man, I have purpose. I'm getting out in the world. I'm making money. I'm doing things that help other people. And I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of times I just found a service. I think it was in Port Aransas, Texas. And it's a drone company that offers orthomosaic maps to homeowners so that if a disaster hits, they have the data to send to the insurance company to prove the value of their home. I mean, you could offer this and do a mass mailer, an email. If you go to disaster conferences, you could have a booth selling it. I mean, I already know people who are doing that. So be innovative, think about these things, offer your deliverables. And if you're struggling with your website, then join us for the coaching calls. And yes, everyone who's been on the coaching calls, I missed the May coaching call because I had a baby. But yes, I followed through on all the work and I published it online.
So you will have no excuse.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anyway, when it comes to disaster response, your biggest issues are chain of command, the right safety information, being able to survive without any outside supply or resources. Honestly, the money is in pre-mapping disaster areas. You can find NOAA maps all over where the most common disasters happen, what happens in those areas. You can go map those areas, offer it as a service to insurance companies, federal contracts, or B2C directly. I think
please don't go after an event happens and think that you're going to be helpful by putting your drone in the air without talking to the proper channels, because you will do more harm than good.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And on that note, thank you again for trusting us. If you have a question, askdroneu.com. But that's going to do it for us today. My name is Paul.
I'm Rob.
This is Ask Drone U.